Good evening and welcome to this special edition of Newshour. Professor Vucel Gasimli is an economist and Executive Director of the Centre for Analysis of Economic Reforms and Communication in Azerbaijan, an organisation he describes as a think and do tank. Well, his team work with both the G7 and G20 engagement groups, and at a time when the World Bank estimates the Middle Corridor can triple its volumes by 2030, and the Fitch Ratings Agency has assigned Azerbaijan the same investment grade category as India and Mexico, I wanted to understand the role that economic research is playing in fueling the shift of a country like Azerbaijan from a middle to a high-income nation. Well, earlier I went to visit Professor Gasimli to find out more about his work. Professor Gasimli, thank you so much for joining us. I'd like to find out more about your work here at the Centre, and specifically how it relates to the national priorities for Azerbaijan, the Strategy 2030.
Thank you, first of all, having me. And, Azerbaijan, after quadrupling its economy during the 2 decades, introduced new national priorities by 2030, in line with the UN's Sustainable Development Goals. In other words, we try to localize global agenda at a national level just to push forward our sustainable development. By the way, during the last 2 decades, using oil and gas windfall, we managed, first of all, to upgrade our infrastructure, to strengthen middle class, increase our human capital, introduce very modern army, and liberate our territories from occupation. But now, as we meet with new challenge arising from, first of all, technological revolution, then global architecture reshuffling, and climate change, introduce new priorities by 2030. The first priority, of course, the breeding ground for others. This is a steadily growing competitive economy. And the second priority, dynamic and inclusive society based on human capital. And third priority, of course, innovation. It means technological revolution. Fourth priority, great return to liberated territories. The last but not least, a country with green economic growth. So point is that last year, leading credit rating agencies, Moody's, S&P, and Fitch affirmed very strong credit rating for Azerbaijan, citing strong fiscal reserves and external balance as advantage. The point is that today our external creditor position is more than 150% of our GDP, which is the strongest indicator among other investment-rated countries. And last year, by the way, Fitch upgraded our credit rating to investment rating. And it's very good for Azerbaijan because it's somehow financial and investment passport for Azerbaijan to deal with private sector, attract investment, and to introduce itself in global capital markets. And our net sovereign assets position is more than 70% of our GDP. By the way, Fitch rating agency placed Azerbaijan in group with other group members like India, Greece, Romania, Mexico, and all they are emerging nations. So we are at the emerging nations level. And it's very good. And the point is that last year our economic growth was more than 4%. And a major driver of our economic growth was non-oil sector. And in non-oil sector, of course, non-oil industrial development was a major, driver of this economic growth. So we cover all these national priorities. By the way, our Center for Analysis of Economic Reforms and Communication, which is a think and do tank of Azerbaijan, was tasked to run monitoring and evaluation of this state program. And on one hand, this is a program-based approach. On the other hand, this is a part of midterm expenditure framework and result-based budgeting. So under strategic management, we introduce very new efficient government technologies just to keep our sustainable development.
And you mentioned efficiency there. Government efficiency has hit the headlines recently with President Trump, Mr. Musk shining a light on its importance. But government efficiency has long been a core discipline that you've been working on, hasn't it?
Yeah, you are right. I completely agree with you that United States Department of Government Efficiency is a new chapter in terms of government efficiency. They have own, approach on cut public spending and boost digital transformation as well as AI revolution in the United States. But let me say that, we are in a fourth industrial revolution. And there's not a unique leader in this revolution. By the way, up to this, let's take, for example, first industrial revolution, which took place in your homeland, in Britain. The second and third industrial revolution led by the United States. But today, you cannot show me that one concrete, distinct leader of this industrial revolution. And there are a lot of rivals. For example, let's take China. China's approach on this issue is a new quality productive force. And China today is leader in terms of AI, robotics, possessing of critical metals for advanced technologies, electrical cars, so on. And China amount for 30% of global manufacturing, and it's double of that of United States. And it's a very, strong rival in terms of AI revolution. Let's take Japan. They have own approach, strategic indispensability, that possess technologies and capabilities that nobody others has. Or let's take, for example, UK. Chancellor Reeves introduced securonomics, placed the first place security on one hand, on the other hand, growth, the Labour's approach on this economic development. And every nation has own approach on government efficiency to fulfill their commitments arising from AI revolution. For example, in Estonia, they have e-Estonia. In Singapore, GovTech. In Canada, Canadian digital service. In UK, UK digital service. In Azerbaijan, we have innovation and digital development agencies. So a lot of approach, and hardly had developing nations tried to bypass middle income trap when they met with new challenge like AI revolution or quantum computing revolution. And it's very difficult. Yesterday we discussed with the representative of World Bank on World Development Report, and they found out that majority of countries are stuck in middle income trap. More than 100 countries. Only 30 countries during the last 50 years managed switch their status from middle income to high income country. And majority of them in European Union or Eastern European countries. So it's very difficult for developing nations just to meet these, commitments coming from industrial revolution. And that's why I think government efficiency is very important. As Tarona Cemoglu mentioned, we need very strong, inclusive institutions to meet this challenge.
And as Azerbaijan goes on that journey from middle income to high income, I'm really interested in the position of the country, not just geopolitically and geographically, but also economically. The middle corridor, the dexterity of decision making that government officials need to make to partner with so many different actors. I guess that also relies on really good data too.
You are right, and I think, as Daniel Roderick mentioned, the major enemy of economics is geopolitics. And today, the middle corridor journey commenced in China, snaking through Kazakhstan's rail and road infrastructure, and reached to seaports on Caspian Basin, and then from ports like Aktau, Atrau, and Kruk, traverse Caspian Sea, docking at Baku International Seaport, Alat International Seaport, and then went through Azerbaijan, Georgia, and Turkey, where it branches into two distinct routes. The first route is railroad of Turkey, which interconnects our middle corridor to European railroad network. The second route, the Black Sea route, and the Black Sea route is veers away Turkey's landmass, and crossing Black Sea, we reach at seaports like Constanta in Romania, Burgas in Bulgaria, Chernomorsk in Ukraine, and Istanbul in Turkey. And this is a very important strategic, shortcut between China and European Union. And World Bank estimated that we have capacity triple turnover, trade turnover over the Silk Road. And point is that Azerbaijan is very important country on this Silk Road. I would like to give example from Brzezinski that named Azerbaijan as a cork in the bottle containing riches of Caspian Sea and our region. And I think if it would be very difficult for countries here in our region, without Azerbaijan's independence to survive. It's very important because Azerbaijan introduced only sole land-based gateway from China to, let's say, European Union. And within this middle corridor, of course, we try to use the advantage of geography, and Azerbaijan, together with Georgia, Kazakhstan, and Turkey, signed a lot of intergovernmental agreements on, first of all, to develop institutional capacity, on the other hand, to provide harmonization of procedures, tariffs, so on, just to make it easier to deliver containers from China to Europe. And I think from that point of view, a middle corridor is very important and is a part of our competitive advantage. And please take into account that we introduced the other route, north-south route. And today, Azerbaijan is a shortcut way between Russia and Iran. And Azerbaijan somehow is a crossroad in this context. And it's very important. That's why Azerbaijan introduced the biggest seaport in Caspian Sea, Alat International Seaport. We have the biggest civilian navy in Caspian Basin, more than 50 ships. We have the biggest civilian aviation fleet with more than 20 airplanes. And that's why today Azerbaijan is interested in peace and prosperity in this region, because as Lee Kuan Yew, the father of Singaporean economic miracle, mentioned, we have to trade with each other, with our neighbors, not fight each other. And that's why we are very interested in opening Zangezur corridor, which gives us additional opportunity to diversify routes coming from China towards Europe and vice versa. So I think transport and logistics in our region is very important, not only for goods and passenger turnover, but it gives us opportunity to develop economic corridor. This is a value chain, a regional value chain, which is very important for all countries. And I think such kind of regional value chains creates opportunity to reach sustainable development goals introduced by the UN.
And one of those huge areas of opportunity is in energy security. We know that's a particular challenge that many Western European countries are wrestling with at the moment. What role can Azerbaijan play in supporting those countries with that challenge?
Today we have 4 flagship projects in green energy. At the first stage of independence, we played an important role in diversification of European energy security. But today we switched from this, hydrocarbon resources towards green agenda. And 4 flagship projects. The first of all, Caspian Sea, Black Sea, and European Union green energy corridor, which starts from Azerbaijan through Georgia and subsea cable, by the way, reaching to Romania and Hungary. It's very important, and it's the first stage. We plan to export 4 gigawatt electricity, green electricity, from Azerbaijan to European Union. And now we are in pipeline of feasibility study, and I hope we will finalize feasibility study and then start next stage. The second project is Central Asia-Azerbaijan Green Corridor. And our governments, Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan, and Uzbekistan, signed intergovernmental agreement on development of Central Asia-Azerbaijan Green Corridor. Central Asia is very rich with green energy as well as wind and solar. By the way, in future we have planned just interlink these 2 bridges, corridors, Central Asia, Azerbaijan, and Azerbaijan, Hungary. And the third flagship project is exporting green energy electricity from Azerbaijan through Turkey to European Union. Point is that Mr. President declared our 3 regions, Nakhchivan, Eastern Zangezur, and Karabakh, green economic zones. And we have a huge capacity to develop electricity, green electricity in these regions. By the way, we involved BP, Masdar, Akvapower, and other very renowned companies just to support our green energy production in these very regions. Even we constructed Jabrayil electricity hub in our liberated territories. And we are waiting for opening Zangezur corridor just to reach to Nakhchivan, and then through Nakhchivan to Turkey, and then to European Union. So this is other green corridor starting from Azerbaijan towards European Union. And the last but not least, our green hydrogen potential, by the way. Point is that European Bank for Reconstruction Development provided some research on hydrogen gap analysis, and they found out that green hydrogen production in Azerbaijan could be cheaper than in European Union. according to their estimations, 1 kilogram green hydrogen in Azerbaijan accounts for 2.92 euro compared to 3.67 euro in European Union. In other words, cheaper than that of in European Union. And I think green hydrogen potential of Azerbaijan might be very useful for European carbon neutrality. And by the way, Trans-Adriatic pipeline, which inaugurated in 2020 and owned by Azerbaijani national oil company SOCAR and other companies like BP and some companies from European Union are interested. All the stakeholders are interested in hydrogen export from Azerbaijan to the European Union. They can increase the capacity of Trans-Adriatic pipeline from 10 BCM, billion cubic meters per year, to 20 BCM by 2027. And in this way, through this pipeline, we can export green hydrogen from Azerbaijan, from our source towards European Union. So all these, green projects initiated here in Azerbaijan serves European, energy security and carbon neutral approach, which is a part of European Union agenda. By the way, recently Mario Draghi provided research on European competitiveness, and von der Leyen introduced a competitiveness compass for European Union development. And green agenda is very indispensable part of this green, competitiveness compass. And that's why I think in future we have great potential to introduce Azerbaijan's green potential in European market.
Green projects at the heart of future growth. Professor, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.